Well, actually, the initial inclination to help others was to find basically a trade that worked in prison society, because like any other place, if you have a role to play, it confers upon you a particular level of safety. I mean, there were a few reasons. One of them was I seemed to have a knack for it, and I became notorious in the prison circles for being competent in that area because of successfully defending myself in San Mateo. It started with guys that were up in San Mateo County and asked for help. And then there was the human level, which is somebody asks for your help and you're able to give it. This is quite natural, for me at least, to want to do something in that regard. As I said also, it works. It's functional in a prison situation. You don't want to be categorized as muscle. It'd be better to be part of the brain trust and a resource on that level. But I've always drawn a clean line from the beginning about choosing which cases I'll work on. I've had situations where people have come to me sometimes in a little committee and told me that I was going to work on a particular legal project. And I said no. That, for me, has always been non-negotiable. I will not submit to that kind of pressure, and I haven't. So, in the beginning, there were selfish reasons, and later on, as I grew as a man and deepened my meditation and broadened myself spiritually, I saw it as a way of doing good, doing something other than leave wreckage behind me. And I'm referring to my early 20s when I created a lot of wreckage or participated in a variety of train wrecks. And so it was, there was this guy named Angel Lascano, just to give you the story. Angel was still a California prisoner, and he'd been burned in an accident after a high-speed chase. But nevertheless, he was burned over like 85% of his body, had these fracture scarring everywhere, over his head, over his face. His eyes didn't really have any eyelids. And he was in a bad way with it. He had a suppurating wound on the back of his neck. He had scars that prevented him from closing his hands. And his fingers looked like they were made of wax and melted. And couldn't run and participate. Now, there was this report from the doctors at UC Davis Medical Center saying that many of these conditions could be alleviated if he got surgery, but for some reason that surgery was not forthcoming. Angel was not a primary English speaker, and he pushed a broom on a chair. He asked me for help, and I worked on it. Ultimately, the result was that the Superior Court found that
this call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
The prison system had been grossly indifferent to his serious medical needs and ordered that he get the treatment that the Davis medical doctor said would alleviate his problems. And he did get that surgery, and he was able to start playing soccer again. He was able to close his eyes at night after the surgery. And Angel was sleeping like a zombie, eyes wide open all night. And the wound on the back of his head that had never closed in 5 years was closed. And so it stopped using pus. Anyhow, that was a project I worked on it. Things like that were pretty gratifying. I was also did the medical work that led to the first prisoner getting treatment for hepatitis C back in the day when it was just interferon A. So other things along that line.